Well, alright, YouTube, HPJ here, and of course, I am just throwing you guys a lot of videos for the next couple of days, because I'm not going to record any new things after this. I need to really just start recording stuff and putting it up on the channel. So, this is my Harpie deck profile for this month. Now, this is, of course, for Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to be very blunt about things, but I'll wait till after I go through the deck first, because then that way you guys can see everything that I'm running and then just talk about things after that. So with that said, let's go ahead, let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoyed the new setup, because it's going to be here for a minute. Anyway, so we're going to start off with our monster lineup. My monsters consist of 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer, 3 copies of Harpie Channeler, and making her grand return, 3 copies of Cyber Harpie. So I was feeling nostalgia for Cyber Harpie. Anyway, we're going to continue on with 2 copies of Harpie's Pet Dragon for some Fire Blast, 2 copies of Harpie Oracle, 2 copies of Harpie Harpist, 1 copy of Harpie Lady Sisters, and 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Alright, that is it for the monsters. We're now going to go into our spells. 3 copies of Hysteric Sign, 3 copies of Elegant Egotist, 2 copies of Harpie's Feather Rest, 1 Duster, 1 Hunting Ground, 1 Alluring Mirror Split, and 2 copies of Swallow's Nest. That's it for all the spells. Moving into our trap lineup. 3 copies of Infinity Impermeance, 3 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm, and 2 copies of Hysteric Party. Alright, there we go. Alright, moving into the extra deck, which I just remembered is like at the bottom of what I just made in terms of the stack. 2 copies of Cyber/Harpie Lady, 1 copy of Harpie Conductor, 1 copy of Winnie the Wind Charmer Verdant, and 1 copy of Heavensvulgar, the Desperate Doom Eagle, 1 copy of Appaloosa, the Bow of the Goddess, 1 copy of Firjit, the Burton Blossom, 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, 1 copy of Lightning Chidori, 1 copy of Ice Bee Zero Fine, 1 copy of Beast Dweller, 1 copy of Ray Raptor Arsenal Falcon, 1 copy of Mecha Fanabeast Draco Sack, 1 copy of Number 11 Big Eye, and 1 copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. I was really about to read his name in like a whole different order. But yeah, that is pretty much it for all of the cards, both in the main and in the extra. So, what I was talking about previously earlier in the video is right now I am trying to construct another version of Harpies for whatever I can potentially have. So right now, the issue is that the game is very, very advanced for a lot of things. We don't have a lot of things to check things. We have to use other resources to help us check those things. The Harpie main engine has so many different issues that it's not even funny, and I've done enough videos on it to have talked about it. But we need a lot of things. That's for a different time. But overall, it's very casual at this point, you know. And it's I'm not saying that Harpies are a bad deck. I'm saying Harpies need a lot of improvements to at least have some stability, because I've said this countless times and times again. We get new cards, but what is the functions that the cards do to make things cohesive? For the last few months, I have seen a lot of people talk about this issue, and even some people have asked this thing. You know, where's the cohesion with the Harpie engine? Because the Harpie engine has just been all over the place. You know, and it is very difficult at times to try to build a Harpie deck, because the cohesion now results in you actually having to splash in other things, and then trying to make sure that those cohesions work well with the Harpie engine. Because I remember I did a video a couple of weeks ago that involved Tri-Brigade, and then people were upset because I was building Tri-Brigade with Harpie, when Tri-Brigade and Harpie was a thing. Just unfortunately, outside of Master Duel, we don't have some more Bird of Sovereignty. So it's very difficult in some cases to play Harpies without certain things, because they're banned. We just don't have access to them. We don't have a barrier statue. We don't have our, some more Bird of Sovereignty. We don't know what things are like on each end, because we still have, there's a lot of things to build up with. So give me the benefit of the doubt for at least trying. It's not my fault. Konami just has their things of what they want to do and how they want to showcase it. So I better hope by sometime next year that we get a set that's devoted to wind, because unless it is, yeah, no, nope, it's not gonna work out. All right, now what things we do have and what things that I can't say. We have triple copies of Harpie Perfumer. Now, she is able to search our deck for any spell or trap that will specifically list Harpie Lady Sisters in its text from your deck into your hand. Then if you have a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, when this effect activates, you can add an additional card with a different name than the first target you searched for. So basically, she's the monster that helps you bring your Harpie Lady Sister cards from your deck into your hand. Oracle is the one that does the opposite. She gets them from the graveyard and puts them back into your hand. Perfumer has definitely been a very big spotlight because she picks up a lot of cards that stuff like Sign cannot. That way you can still have, your various combos to form into things. Now, if we're going to talk about Harpies and we talk about combos, we have to talk about, of course, Harpie Channeler, who definitely is one of the best Harpie support cards you can have, because she discards a Harpie card to then allow you to special summon a Harpie monster from your deck. That leads into rank 2 plays, that can lead into some rank 4 plays, link plays, synchro plays, and a whole bunch of things that survives with Harpie, because one of the biggest tactics Harpies has is the special summon. So this is one of those instances where the special summon definitely does come into fruition thanks to Harpie Channeler. If you control a dragon, she'll change her level now become 7, so you can do some rank 7 plays. So you can make stuff like Draco, Sax, and Big Eyes. Harpie Channeler definitely is a must-have in a Harpie deck because of the fact that she can utilize the ability to summon other Harpies to the board. Now we go into Cyber Harpie Lady, and some people are saying, you're finally playing Cyber Harpie Lady? I just had a bit of nostalgia and I just wanted to play out with Cyber Harpie Lady. You can play Harpie Lady 1, which is one of the things I prefer in some instances. While in other instances, some people want to play Harpie Lady, the normal monster, because of the unexpected die. What it's supposed to solve is, with unexpected die, you're supposed to bring a Harpie monster to the field, because we don't have one that's like a Cyber Dragon. And time and time again, I've always said that we needed one. And we have to then rely on other cards to support in those areas. So that way we can at least have a Harpie on the field, so that when we start playing other Harpie support cards, that we don't have to waste our normal summon. Or, it sucks because we don't even have a card that extends our normal summons outside of Harpie Dancer. And even then, she needs other cards on the field too. So Cyber Harpie Lady is here to be the target for one of the major targets for Elegant Egotist upon his special summon, and just another abrupt beat stick. Harpie's Pet Dragon FFB. Basically here to play as an extender to the Harpie archetype. I only run 2 of these because I didn't feel a third was ever needed. I'm not rushing that fast into the extra deck for 7s anyway. And if anything, this is just another name that isn't making itself to be Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. So it at least sets up for for Link monsters that need the additional monster that doesn't share the same name as the others. In addition to that, when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you're able to send a winged beast to the graveyard. So your biggest target is, of course, Harpie Harpist, who I'll talk about in just a moment. Harpie Oracle. Similar to Harpie's Pet Dragon Fearsome Fire, you're able to summon this monster when you control a Harpie monster on your field of a certain level. While she requires the monster's levels to be 5 or higher, Dragon says 6 or lower. And I think 6, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, because reading my card, yes, Dragon does say the monster has to be, doesn't care if it's Harpie, but as long as it's level 6 or lower, then you can special summon this monster from your hand. Like I said, both of these two are great extenders, but there's still things that need to be in place for them to do the extending. Now, why both of these are at 2 is because there is a lot of playability between them and a lot of synergy between things that are in the deck. Speaking of which, let's go on to Harpie Harpist. She's able to, at the end of your turn, add 1 Winged Beast monster that's level 4 with 1500 or less attack from your deck into your hand. This picks up your Channeler and your Perfumer and even your Oracle if needed, because of the fact that those are the ones that have 1500 or less defense. The other thing about Harpie Harpist is she's an easy discard target for a lot of effects, as well as being an easy target to just send to the graveyard for other effects if need be. Outside of that, I don't use her for her main ability, which is, of course, to return a winged beast monster other than herself on your field and a monster your opponent controls to the hand for her normal summon. It's kind of just very situational effect. Harpie Lady Sisters. Yes, Harpie Sisters. Which I still run because there's still some flexibility with this deck. Now, until she gets a free train, she's going to stay in the deck. What Harpie Lady Sisters does is it's another additional target for Elegant Egoist. It's a big body on the board. And it's a level 6 Harpie monster. So being able to also interact with a lot of the cards that require you to have a level 6 or a level 5 or higher Harpie monster to reap the benefits of effects. But definitely not enough to where you need multiples of this. Trust me, you don't need more than 2. This is not old school Harpies. And even then, if the deck was, I mean, unless your deck was built specifically to play around Harpie Lady Sisters, which even at this period of time don't do that. It's still a thought, but it does still hemorrhage itself for a lot of things. The last of this is my hand trap of choice, and that has Blossom Joyous Spring, a must-have for a lot of the things that are going on. I think with my next build, I want to try to fit in Droll Lockbird as well. I've done it before, but I'm really going to have to like figure out things to just make sure everything runs smoothly. Alright, with that in total, there's all of the monsters. Let's move on into the spells and traps. So, of course, Hysteric Sign. This is obviously one of the biggest Harpie support cards in terms of spells and traps because it allows you to add Elegant Egoist from your deck or graveyard to your hand. In addition to that, you're also able to, when this card is sent from hand or field to the graveyard, to then add up to 3 cards with Harpie in its name to your hand. This way, these two things allow you to not only replenish your hand, but to get your combos and stuff ready for you. Now, the only thing is you can't use both effects in the same turn because Konami thought about that a long time ago. Because trust me, if you could use both effects in the same turn, oh, it'd be definitely broken. And there would be a lot of ways to easily play around with this card. Especially when, I'll search for Ego and then pop it as well, so that way I can search and then have my reserves ready for the next turn. Konami wasn't trying to make things that broken. But Elegant Egoist, of course, the extender itself to allow you to play Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters from your hand or deck. This is definitely the biggest of the special summons and the biggest extender you can get for Harpies because it'll bring out your Harpie Lady or your Harpie Lady Sisters. While your ratios may differ, 3-3 for the 2 of these definitely helps out because you have so many things to retrieve it, you have so many things to search for it, and you have enough targets to play around with it as well. Now, going into that, I'm running 2 copies of Harpie's Feather Edge. You don't have to run this. I am questioning, do I still want to run this, and if I can even run Powder Average, because one of the things that I've been noticing is that I love Harpie's Feather Edge, but it doesn't pick up all my monsters. And if I need stuff to help me later on, Powder Average helps with it. Powder Average does help with that. It's a very strenuous thing, like I said, with deck building, because it's a really good card, and it does execute what it needs to do. Just that I need, to return resources to play the game even further, to keep things going. I need a card like Powder Average as well. It is conjunction, but with double Harpie Feather Edge, you do still at least get another target to search off of for Perfumer, another card to retrieve for Harpist, and a way to send back your Harpies in the graveyard back into the deck so you can have targets for effects such as your Elegant Egoist and your Harpie Channeler. From there, we have Duster and we have Hunting Ground to help us deal with back row. I'm going to move everything over a bit. Then we have Alluring Mirror Split. Similar to Sign, it's just another card to pop so that you can get additional effects. And then another help out with summons is Swallow's Nest to make sure that we can get our Harpies to the board and get them out of dodge when it comes to other effects that would render their abilities useless or would try to blow them up, and then you can swap things in, like a tag out, if you will. So that is it for all my spells, and now we're going to go ahead and move into all of my trap cards. So for the trap card lineup, I'm still running the copies of Infinity and Permeance, and the reason for this is because this card is very, very amazing card to have in Harpies, because as you see, I don't run Effect Veiler. And this card can definitely do a lot of things if you're not going first, because it can slow down some processes, along with your Ash Blossoms, your Join Lockbirds, your DD Crows, and stuff like that. So it'll be another literal hand trap as an option for Harpies to play around with. Then, of course, we have our own hand trap, Harpie's Feather Storm, to be able to negate the effects of monster effects until the end of the turn. And easy to access because, of course, we play Wind-Winged Beasts and we have Harpies who have it in their name. So it's an easy scoop around to deal with that. In addition to it, you're able to get back your Harpie's Feather Duster from the graveyard deck. If this card is in your soundtrack, cards are destroyed by your opponent's card effect. But most likely, you're just trying to get to this card as soon as possible so that you can have some leverage against your opponent. So that way your opponent, is like, I can't do anything, or, oh, I really have to play out of this. But I have to rely on reserves of things that won't be accessible, because if the Harpies are popping the spells and traps like crazy, then you have to rely on your monster effects, and even then that can be a problem. Because then now Storm is inactivated. Storm's a really good card, and there's a lot of things I can say about Storm, but I'll leave that for a different video. Anyway, Hysteric Party. Of course, I want to have Harpies go in for the kill, massive swarm card in the deck. And I'm running 2 of them because if I need to see it as much as possible, but I don't want to see it too often, I think 2 is perfectly fine enough. Alright, that is it for all of the main deck. That is a total of 40 cards. We're now going to go ahead into the extra. So starting off is, of course, Cyber/Harpie Lady. Just a big beat stick. Has the ability to bounce cards on the field, whether you're your Harpie monsters or your opponent's monsters. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, that targets a card on the board. Then in addition to that, she's our highest level Harpie monster in our extra deck. And the highest statted Harpie monster overall. So, well, in terms of attack and level, outside of the defense, that's a very different thing. And she's still a great utility monster, with a quick effect too, at that. Then Harpie Conductor, who I'm only playing one of, just as a more offense, is the great defense is a good offense. In reverse. A great offense is a good defense, and she definitely does help with that. Being able to pop her own spells and traps to protect our Harpie monsters from being destroyed by our card effect can be very resourceful. Then we have Winnie the Wind Channeler, because I wanted to play around with our opponent's Troll and Lockbirds. Havage Vulgar, the Desperate Doom Eagle, just another way to play around with monsters as well, since we don't have a Samorg. Then we have Appaloosa for her massive negate. Tri-Brigade Firjeet the Burton Blossom to be able to extend more of our plays with our Link Summons. And an even bright side, if she leaves the field, she can draw a card and then send the card in your hand back to the deck. For those instant go in for the kill moments, we have Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Draken, who not only protects our Harpies from card effects and being targeted by effects in battle. It's just an overall great monster. If you combine it with Harpie Conductor, you're really set in for protection. Then we have Lightning Chidori to remove sack cards and bounce face-up cards from the field. Ice Beast Zerofying to massively stun and be a giant wall. Abyss Dweller for the graveyard. Ray Raptor Arsenal Falcon to special summon Winged Beast from the deck. Draco Sack for tokens and to be an extended player. Big Eye to steal our opponent's monsters. And with all else fails, you have Zeus to basically wipe a board if everything's just getting on your nerves. And an easy way to play this on top of other monsters once their materials run out. So with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of my deck profile for Harpies for this month. I'm still going to go back into the drawing board for some ideas and context of things that I wanted to try out, want to play around with, maybe even get some more builds. So I'll be just trying to figure things out from there. But this is more of the pure version, and then you have a Tri-Brigade version, so that way people can leave me alone about things. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps me out tremendously. You can hit the notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content to the channel. My social media links are in the description box below, and you can always check out the playlist to check out more content from yours truly. With that said and done, thanks everyone for watching. HBJ signing out. Take care.